This is my channel, right? Yes,
Yep.
my channel. Okay.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Once again, my name is Brandon. I'm an acting and performance coach, and I do music reactions here on this channel on YouTube. And today I have a very special guest. Here with me is Rosalie from Rosalie Reacts, also here on YouTube. She does music reactions to music from all over the world.
Hey, everybody. Yep. My name is Rosalie. Yep. We're all about music and psychology over at my channel and exploring lyrics, the philosophies, and all these different things. I love it. I love exploring the big wide world out there, and I'm honored to be here.
She's going to introduce me to something new today. I've had a couple of people ask me to react to this recently. I don't do a whole lot of Dimash here on the channel, but this is supposed to be right up my alley. Is there anything I should know about this before we get into it?
Not much, because I think it's always awesome to listen to and watch things with a fresh ear and eye. But yeah, Dimash Kudaibergen, he's from Kazakhstan, as you know, has these amazing powerhouse vocals, very operatic. And this particular project is special. It's a very lengthy video because it's a very extensive music video. As you can already see, it's really long. I have been told, I don't know the exact details, but I've been told it's one of the most expensive music videos that have been produced. And you'll see that in a second. And I thought that's why it would be perfect for you, because you'll be able to not only pay attention to the vocals, but what may be even more, if not additionally impressive here, is the performance and the elements that come in from a movie standpoint. That's where I wanted to see what you have to say as a performance and acting coach.
That sounds really fun. I'll do my best not to pause too often because it is really long, but it sounds really exciting. The potential or the idea that it might be one of the most expensive music video like ever is a big deal. All right.
I was impressed. I was blown away. Like, you're in for a treat.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it. And Dimash is great. His voice is really incredible. That's undeniable. I heard his performance of SOS way before I even started my channel, and it was really insane. It's not human. Okay.
I know.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and also jump over to Rosalie Reacts, check out her channel, subscribe to her channel, check out a few of her videos. Link to her channel will also be down in the description below, as always when she's here. Again, thank you so much for being here, and
Thanks for having me.
Jump into this whenever you're ready. Oh, wow. That's dramatic.
Yeah, lots of details. You'll see as it builds.
Kudaibergen.
Kudaibergen. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. It's an intense way to start a music video. He's smiling.
Yeah, that's good.
The story of one sky. Kids, man. I just almost died. It's cool. Let's go for a walk.
I know, right? I know, right?
Yeah. But it's real. I mean, that's the way kids are.
Yep.
Or at least it was the way we were. That's so cool. A box of treasure.
Believe what's happening at all. Eyeballs crazy, we reborn to fall. We are the reason we're causing all that pain. To the secret one that give us life. Billions of hearts, billions of cells and souls and dreams. Billions of lives shouldn't ever turn to senseless horror, so distant.
Lots of symbolism here.
Yeah.
As a ruler, my task is to keep order and protect my country. But I don't deprive you of your freedom. The world is open for me, and I want to give it to you.
I just need a second. There's so much happening.
Yeah.
So Dimash sounds beautiful. His voice is great. He's got a lot happening vocally, right? I mean, I swore for a second, I almost heard him actually crying.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. That I didn't notice it. Well, I thought I heard something too, but that was confirmed by comments that it may be the case, and that I think he might have almost at his live performance of this as well. Yeah,
there was one line in particular, and of course I don't remember the actual lyric. I'm trying to focus on a lot of things, but there was one line right after the first little boy had just handed that necklace, that piece of metal, to the second. He said something, and I swear his voice was cracking, that he was breaking. But so the cinematography is lovely. I can definitely, I don't think this was shot in the United States. The film grain, the color, the style in general, it's all very different. It's got almost a vintage feel to it, which is really interesting. The little actors are doing great. Those little kids, they were doing a really
right,
great,
they're
doing a really great job, you know. But it's just the story that's being told from the very beginning. The first thing I thought was, before he even started singing, it felt like I was sort of being shown how children marvel and wonder at things, and how everything is simpler and sweet. Everything matters. All these little things were important and carried weight. And then you have this. That really shocked me. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking because I know that we need to get through this. But when this started, this whole war, violence sort of section, it kind of shook me. I needed a break.
It's a lot. Yeah, the transition is also very abrupt. I feel like that emphasizes is very stark. Transition or change, and I think that adds to the dynamics, which is well done in order to convey a certain message. But of course, it does a lot emotionally, I would say.
Well, what we saw was these young children that were playing. One nearly died, right? And I think it's really interesting that they chose to put a near-death experience, but handled and dealt with in such a childlike way, with not much fuss. And then they connected us to these children, especially by showing the one showing so much kindness and empathy toward the other, toward the other two, really, but the one particularly who was not the happiest at the moment, right? He showed so much consideration, and then just to cut right to that deep, boomy voice.
And it also, I feel like, shows also the drastic change between life and death. Though it was a near-death experience, it ended in life. It was a situation where one was saving the life of another. And here, it's literally the opposite.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's a very good point. It's the same boys. It's the same boys. So I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get back into it.
I want to give it to you.
I want to give it to you.
Our future is impossible to say. So when our words and Bibles falling, we decide to stop the training. We decide to follow their light. We are making
Only in the hearts of the strongest. You must be strong to accept freedom and bring it to the world. United, we will enter every city, every charter in life. Anyone who resists will not find a place next to us. War is the way to unite people.
Learn to share again. Learn to share again. Their love, not share. To leap again. We have passed the moment of immension. What did the peace? We have to stand. Time is up. It's time to save the earth, the earth. Here is last chance. Can we balance all that you regret? Our future is impossible to save. So when our great survivors falling, we decide to stop the training. We decide to follow their life. Here is last chance. Can we balance all that you regret? Our future is impossible to save. So when our great survivors falling, we decide to stop the training. We make it final turn from wrong to right. Just our final turn from wrong to right. We are choosing life. We are choosing
I'm trying. So from an acting perspective, right? So Dimash showed up. I actually, I didn't know if he was actually going to be in the video.
Right.
But I was really impressed for someone who isn't a professional actor, right? When he was there in the beginning, the first little sort of mini scene we saw him in when he had that little necklace, and of course he was thinking about the other people. I'm assuming the girl who also had the other part of the necklace. He did a really great job. It feels to me like this is covering an area that may be very personal to him. I don't know much about his country, the country that he's from, the history of it.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, geopolitically, I don't know what the history there is as far as its relation to other countries, what wars they may have gone through, be going through. I don't know anything about it, but it feels to me like just watching him give that performance, what it felt like was that he has a very personal connection to this sort of topic, and he wasn't having to do just a whole lot of work to find that place as an actor. He was able to connect to it fairly easily, which is ideal, especially when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't do this professionally, who hasn't been trained in it, and you're dealing with such an emotional, heavy topic. You want to find somebody, or you want to do it in a way that allows the person to be as naturally them as possible.
Right.
And I definitely got that. Like I said, I don't know what his connection to this is. I hope it's not too personal, because this is a very tragic and bleak scene that's being painted. I can't help it. I don't talk politics on my channel at all, but I cannot, it hits me close to home, because oftentimes in these situations, it's my country or a couple of others who are in very similar situations to mine that are, I don't want to say the bad guys, but I kind of feel like we're the bad guys a lot of the time. We are the invader or the occupier. And it's very, it's not something I'm proud of. And it's something that I have no power over, and I can't do anything about it. But it's not lost on me. It's not lost on me in the least. And it's also very poignant right now because of the things that are happening. There's a couple of very impactful fights happening in the world right now.
Yeah, I definitely think one of the reasons why I wear the merch that I had designed, that was inspired by this song. Actually, I have a couple of collections in my store that were specifically inspired by his project. One is called Choose Life. The other is One Sky. And it'll make more sense to you and others when they see this whole thing. But I do agree with you that that topic is a tragic one. Something like this, I feel like should be seen by everybody. Even people commenting on my reaction to it said the same, because I think that where things could be romanticized, where, the media or mainstream, channels will, present a certain side to things. Sometimes we may or may not, depending on who we're listening to, forget the horror of it, right? Like say if there's violence in music or in movies, or we're watching action movies, sometimes those things can be romanticized. And sometimes it takes honest self-reflection, honest reflection of a nation, and seeing the real horror to go, no, we shouldn't be choosing war and death. We should be choosing life and loving one another and taking care of this planet. When it comes to the political side, I'm same. I don't, say too much publicly about the political aspects. And I do think that this country, along with every other country in the world, has blood on its hands. Sure. But I don't think that that's new. I really don't think that's just this nation. Though this nation has contributed to that, it goes for my mother country as well, right? Germany. We all know Germany's history. It goes for even in other places that we don't know much about, in Africa, in Rwanda, the Tutsis and the Hutus fighting each other. Like it's often not just one country against the other. Even here, my impression when it comes to this war is that it is very much internal. Like one within a nation. A group of people being influenced and brainwashed to go hate another. But I feel like that's not new. Even from the beginning of time, it was tribes, when it was the Arabs conquering multiple countries in the world, when it was the Romans, we just tend to do that. That one group wants to overpower the other. Yeah. And it could be for all kinds of reasons, but it's not new under the sun, I feel like. It's a reoccurring tragedy.
And there's a couple of things that you said something that sparked something that I thought while I was watching the video. One of the things was that I don't even know where in the world you are right now.
I'm in the United States.
You're in the United States. Okay, so
now I am, but I wasn't born.
Have you been here very long?
I came here 2011, but I'm actually Cuban German. My dad is full blood Cuban. My mom is full blood German. I was born and raised in Germany though all my life. Went to college there my whole life, except came here 2011.
First of all, one thing that I will say that's something that people forget: certain very powerful figures imposed themselves on Germany before they were able to impose themselves everywhere else.
Hitler wasn't even German; he was Austrian.
Right.
That's how the world works.
But another thing that you mentioned is here in the States, something that having grown up here, a young man, and being talked to the way, especially in the South, all young men are here, being taught the way we are in our schools. There's a thing here. And I don't know if you ever heard the term of false patriotism.
I think I understand it. Yeah.
The idea that we're indoctrinated as children to feel this very inflated sense of pride in things that most people in the world think is odd. We have this idea that our government's here to serve us, and so we the people, and it's for us. But then at the same time, we are taught very young. What brought it to my mind was when that line that the man at the podium said, "War is the way to bring people together." We're taught we want to go off and fight in war as young boys because we're taught that it's glorious and that it's honorable and that it makes us cool and men. It makes us powerful and important and gives us status. See, I've had several friends who've been in a few wars, and I don't get that sense from them when they get back.
It's not glorious. And I think that goes for many countries around the world. And even in movies, obviously it's a movie, but there's still truth to it, even in fiction, where even with a group of people, and that's a psychological thing and a sociological thing too, you can have a small group or a large group of people and you can hype them up for various causes. That's why you can have people, regardless of where they're from or what they look like, hate the other for some other random reason because they were hyped up to do so, right? And then you have a group of people that feel the same way, and now they realize, oh, I'm not alone in my thinking. We have to do this together. And then you have one leading the crowd and the minority leading the majority without going, wait a minute, what are we even standing for here? But that's a human, I think that's a psychological and a sociological tragedy. I don't even want to say phenomenon. That's unfortunate.
No, yeah, it definitely is. And there are purposes behind it that can be very nefarious. Unfortunately, you ever read 1984, the novel?
No.
There's
no,
also a film.
So.
You should watch it or read it. If you're a reader, you should read it. It's great. It's really great. It's sort of a dystopian book about the future. Of course, it's set in 1984 because it was written further back. But it's really intense, and it has a lot to do with what you were just talking about. Do you know anything from your comments or anything? Do you know anything about Dimash's connection to this? Why he chose to make this?
I don't know about his personal connection when it comes to his country, but I think when you see the full video, you'll see what the message of the whole video as a whole is meant. I think the message of the video is supposed to be much larger than what he may or may not have experienced as a country. Right. It's more global. The message for this is much more global.
Yeah. This makes me nervous. I knew we weren't going to stay in that country. I knew it from the beginning. From the phrase "one sky." That was real. That was a real tear. How did you react when you saw that necklace around the commander's neck?
My first thought, and it's since expanded based on the comments and different people knowing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know what the symbol itself meant.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
not sure it matters.
Yeah. Good point too. Yeah. But I did find it significant that it was the red thread throughout the whole thing. And it made me think of the choice. It made me think of the fact that each of these children and each person that wore that necklace, and we all had the choice of the type of story we're going to write with our life. Kind of works with the title too, The Story of One Sky. What choices we're going to make in life, who on that spectrum we're going to be, who are they going to be? The soldier, the commander, someone saving or someone killing, someone choosing death or choosing life, bringing in life into the world or death. That's kind of my thought that was my thought at the time.
Yeah. I was just really interested because that was I did not see that coming. Mm-hmm. And I'm usually pretty good at that kind of thing. Every time there was a cut to a different scene, it got heavier.
Yep.
And I think that did its job for sure.
Yep.
I want to read this out loud real quickly. It says, dialogue, understanding, and the widespread promotion of a culture of tolerance, acceptance of others, and of living together peacefully would contribute significantly to reducing many economic, social, political, and environmental problems that weigh so heavily on a large part of humanity. That's really, it's a lovely statement. The moment when I'll try not to take too long, but that moment when I saw the necklace, it broke my heart. It completely broke my heart because Dimash's character obviously knew the entire time who he was, what his status was, what his involvement was, and what his impact was. Just knowing that connection they had when they were young. And it goes back to the idea that when we're young and how innocent things are, there's no hatred in a 5-year-old's eyes. You know, there's no lines, no borders. It's not like that. And I don't know the specifics of the situation. Like you said, it might have been like a civil thing. I don't know if it was an invading country, but it broke my heart. I can't, I'm having a hard time getting over it. It was just, as a young boy, I almost got the sense that he could have, at any time, he knew how to go around and make his way and get in front of that person and put an end to him. And he hadn't done it because of the connection they had. Maybe there was hope there that there could still be some kind of enlightenment or reconciliation, that they could somehow find their way back. But then, of course, when he found the little girl, and then I feel like he just made the decision, right? And the scene in the water was very powerful. From an acting perspective, right? I know this is why a lot of people wanted me to watch this. The tear, I mentioned it at the time. The first tear that fell when he was in the hallway at the second half of the video was real. There's a way to tell. It's not 100%. Of course, nothing really is. But generally, there's a way to tell when a tear falls out of somebody's eye if it actually came from someplace emotional or if it was just generated by someone who some people can make their eyes water. But it was real. It was an absolute real emotional pregnant tear. It absolutely had feeling behind it. That was a beautiful moment. And that entire scene of him holding that little girl, I'm incredibly impressed. I don't think, again, this is something that he feels very connected to. This is a project, of course, obviously he worked very hard on. And toward the end, a lot of people of his fans will appreciate this. Right before the water bit, when he was in the water screaming, which was also very powerful and incredibly well acted, very much reminded me of a Lara Fabian project, Mademoiselle Zhivago. It was a visual album, basically. It was a film wherein she played several different characters, and there was a movie. Each one was a different character in a different time, a different setting, and she played her way through it. And it was gorgeous. And this very much reminded me of a particular song in that performance. It's beautiful. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The acting was really good. It was really, really good. And again, I'll say I didn't see a lot of technique happening. It was just someone experiencing human emotion.
Yeah, I think people commenting on my reaction pointed out, if I remember correctly, at his live performance of this song, he actually was tearing up or crying. And like you heard in the beginning, it sounded even like in his singing. I feel like it's such a rich project. I almost cried again this time. I mean, the part that broke me the first time I saw it was when he was holding the child. And to me, at first, my thought was, this represents how every one of those children can end up, right? Yeah. People commented that the story of the movie or of this music video is that one boy who saved him initially became the commander. Yeah. The boy who was saved in the water, who ends up then drowning, right? Very cyclical. Yeah. On the way it begins and ends is Dimash, right? Who then gave the necklace to all his friends, and the woman, the pregnant woman, is that little girl. So I guess in a way that supposedly, like that's what they were saying. A lot of people commenting that the little girl grew up to be his wife and she gave birth. I was thinking, well, did she give birth to that little girl and now Dimash is holding his daughter? Or is that Dimash in the end, the son, right? The woman gave birth to a little baby with the necklace, and that's now Dimash's son, because he dies in the water in the end. So now Dimash's son is leading these people, note from all these different religions, right? You had the Jewish man with the shofar, the horn. You had Christianity represented, Buddhism, the the chanting, and this idea of various religions and nations coming together, walking towards the light. It's so rich in symbolism, in message, and then the music. I had to sometimes stop and go, wait a minute, I'm not even paying attention to what he's just doing, which is also mind-blowing. Even when he transitioned from
vocally,
the operatic.
I have no idea. Yeah,
he at one point, and you have to like listen to it repeatedly to take apart the vocal part, then the acting part, or not acting, right? Then the cinematography, then the symbolism. In the singing though, even the transition from that operatic style in the beginning to then the more native chanting and the Middle Eastern vibrating chanting and the jumps that he would do with his vocals. I mean, just so rich.
Such a powerful form of vocalizing, by the way.
Powerful. I mean, just so full, like a piece of art that you have to take apart bit by bit. Even watching it again with you, I'm like, it's so heavy. It's emotionally just loaded, but with a powerful message, though. No lie.
So that last scene, actually, again, I this is one of the reasons I love doing this with somebody, and I really love your perspective on things, mostly because it's usually very different from mine. And
ditto. Everybody hears something different. It's cool.
Yeah. So that last scene, what I understood about that last scene was that was actually him. So that he killed his friend, right? The commander, and then the soldiers came in and shot him. And I felt like that was the whole scene where he went to the water was kind of like that moment that people talk about having when they have near-death experiences. He was taken back to a part in his life when he had almost died before, and then he experienced that. And then what I saw was that he had actually died, and that man at the end was actually him in the afterlife, going toward heaven.
That's another way to interpret that, yeah.
And so then you had all these people from different religions, different ideologies, not in separate places, not one group going onto a promised land and the other ones being damned for eternity, but everybody being together, people who had compassion.
Right. And one might even say the people who chose life.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
That idea
That's exactly
we're going to walk towards the light, and we're going to choose life. We're not going to choose hate and destruction. Right. We're going to choose peace and loving the other. And it's cyclical. Just a side note, in Semitic cultures and Middle Eastern cultures, very different than the West. A lot of times things are looked at in a more cyclical way, versus in the West, we often look at it like a straight timeline, right? There it's more cyclical. So that it began and ended with the water, I found interesting. Yeah. And what you just said about the afterlife also works with the water, because water, being immersed in water, often also has this idea of baptism and being reborn. Something starting fresh.
Yeah, no, and absolutely made sense.
Symbolism.
And so as far, because I was thinking the same thing when he was holding the little girl, and then it was cutting back and forth initially between that scene and the birth.
And
that was so intense. I did not place her as the girl at all.
That's what they said in the comments.
Yeah,
I didn't put that
it
together in
makes
the
sense.
beginning
I didn't
either.
see. I didn't see. Maybe they showed her having a pendant. I didn't see it. That would
Might
make
have.
sense.
I don't recall. Yeah. It would. Yeah. But it's so powerful. All the different ways that people either say that it's meant or that we interpret it. That's I think what's so beautiful as well. Everybody sees something different.
Yeah.
But I would say there's validity in all of it.
Sure.
Because there's wisdom to be pulled out and go, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, like wisdom is wisdom from different things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's. I think I mentioned this once in some video that one of the Night Wishes videos. Actually, I think that one of the most beautiful things about art and music in particular is this way. It's not only that it can be different things to different people. I can watch this today and then in 3 weeks have a few life events take place, come back and watch it again and feel completely differently and get something completely different out of it. Because it's all about, art is all about communicating human experiences to human beings.
Yeah, and beings, keyword, human beings, right? You're going to experience things differently because you're organic, alive, and being.
Exactly.
It's like a present progressive word. It's actually happening. It's not something that's stagnant and the same thing once and for all.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
Literally, I could talk to you about this. I could break this thing. Like I'm being very general because I know we have a limited amount of time. There's so much. The cheer was great. The cheer was amazing.
Yeah,
it was great.
It's true. There's a lot to take apart there. I agree with that.
From an acting perspective, that one moment, for anybody out there who's interested in how I feel about it, because people have heard me say that sometimes he feels a little choreographed on stage, that this was an incredible performance. It was very emotional, it's very authentic, very real. It was not acting. It was great. That was real acting. So I was very impressed.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I figured you would. I figured there would be a lot to take away from in different ways. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it and were able to explore this. It's heavy. Yeah,
no, it was definitely. All right, so that was Dimash, The Story of One Sky, which, by the way, that title is amazing, especially now. I feel that just means so much.
Right.
I now need to go see your merch. Everybody else, go check out her merch. I'm sure the link will be in her description, and I will try to, if you'll send me a link to it, I'll definitely put it in mine.
Now the sunrise will make more sense too on the shirt.
Yeah.
There was a reason I designed it the way that I did.
Choose life. Right. I didn't even notice.
Walking towards the sun.
That's amazing. This is Rosalie from Rosalie Relax. Rosalie, thank you so much for being here once again. I loved this, and I love talking to you about these things. It's a whole different experience. It really is something that I enjoy. So I appreciate it.
It was an honor. It was a privilege. I appreciate you, Brandon. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Check out the description for all my social media links, which I'm almost never on. But if you send me a DM, I promise I'll answer sometime. Do go check out Rosalie's channel at Rosalie Reacts here on YouTube. Check out all the links in her description. I'll have a few in mind for you to check out as well. And thank you so much. All of you who suggested this and made this a thing that was even on my radar, I appreciate it. Please remember, as always, be kind to each other. And most importantly, be kind to yourself.